I'm making is, if we go with, we got, right in the city of Ball, we get cops grant, where we hire a policeman there. The feds pay that man's salary for 3 years, we keep it, and then we end up with, we hire 3 of them, we got 3 more policemen than we need when it comes 3 years. What we gonna do? We're gonna have to continue to start funding that. It's an unfunded mandate if we get it, and then have to do it in the future. That's what you're saying. What I'm saying is, the federal government, somehow or other, we need to come together, determine what's taking care of us without breaking our back. We got to continue. And, you know, 600 million probably a drop in the bucket for the state. I don't know. It's tremendous for most everybody sitting in this room, you know, to think that we're going to face that. And I'm all for taking care of people. I just hope that we've got the good common sense to think it through and determine what's right for our population, something we can afford in the future.
I'd like to switch the conversation just a second if we can, if you'd allow me to. And it's for all 3, the senator and the 2 representatives, and just, I'll listen to you. The Board of Education visited your offices back a month and a half ago. I appreciate the opportunity you took with us. We brought 3 specific resolutions up there that had our positions on those. One was dealing with the appointment of directors of schools, and that is not as important of an issue to us now, but you know where we stand. 2 others seem to not only have picked up steam, but if I were guessing today, they're going to pass, and that's vouchers, a voucher program or opportunity scholarships, which in my estimation, my research takes public school funds and transfers them out to private schools. I agree with you, Representative Rich. I want to keep the money right here in the county. And I see that as a way of not doing that. And the other one was on the charter school authorizers. And eventually that could be, I mean, we already have charter schools. And I know there's those that are out there that are successful. The research didn't support that it's over a majority of those are successful. So I'm concerned about that because I see that taking money, public money, from our schools. I'm not an attorney, don't claim to be one, I'm an infantryman, ma'am, but somewhere along the line, in my humble opinion, we're really getting off into separation of church and state or playing with that issue. So I'd like to hear where you stand on that issue right now. I understand that there was an amendment this week that would expand either the charter school or the voucher application, the eligibility requirements for that. And originally, I've done some research, I couldn't find it, so maybe y'all could help me out and tell me where we're at. I heard this, that the income eligibility requirements for vouchers was at somewhere in the $40,000 range, and that now has expanded, or there's an amendment up that expands that to $75,000. Well, that provides a lot of my students here, should they want to make that move. You know, that money plus the local match goes with those students to wherever they go, regardless of whether they're in a low performing school or not. So that's a very much concern to me, and it should be a concern to those of us that believe in public education. I believe it offers the best opportunity for the majority of our students. I know for my children, it was a great opportunity coming right out of this school system here. And I'd like to know your comments, your stances, and the progress of these bills.
Maybe I can field a couple of your questions anyway. There are 2 bills that are in process right now in the legislature, going through the House and the Senate as well. Neither bills have been heard in the Senate. The governor's voucher bill, it has been heard in the House and seems to be making progress. The governor's approach to this equal opportunity scholarship has been a very methodical, well thought out, well planned approach. What the governor did about over a year ago was to form a task force to look at what an equal opportunity scholarship program might look like in Tennessee. And so what he did was he formed the task force. They met 6 or 7 times. I didn't go to all the meetings. because it was specifically for that, and I was not a member of the task force. But so what they did was they met for over a year. They heard testimony from folks from other states where this has been successful. Sometimes they heard from folks who saw some weaknesses in several programs. In any case, what I'm trying to tell you is I think they got a pretty balanced view of what equal opportunity scholarships might look like. Being this very methodical person that he is, and with his staff, they came up with an approach that would focus directly on youngsters who were and families who qualified for free and reduced lunches, and who were attending the lowest performing schools in the state. The lowest performing schools number about 83, 69 of which are in Memphis City schools. The other ones are broken up between the big four, and very few, what they're called priority schools are in rural areas. In fact, Hardeman County has one of those, and that's Whiteville Elementary. So, what does that mean, actually? That means that you are giving to parents and to their children who are the poorest of the poor in the lowest performing schools an opportunity to choose a different way to go. Now, what we try to do here is remember the bedrock foundational principle that we're dealing with here is that parents are the ones who have the duty, honor, obligation to educate their children as they see fit. Parents have this obligation. The state has a compelling interest in this because the state must have a literate citizenry to preserve a free society, to preserve the republic. So the state of Tennessee, way back when they wrote that Constitution, they said we're going to support a system of public education. They did not say what kind of system this would be. That's up to the legislature to form that kind of system. So the legislature, over the last couple of hundred years, has formed one particular kind of model of public education. So what all this has to do is with parental choice. Now, as it happens, these youngsters, these particular families, are trapped in low-performing schools with no options. Now, someone told me the other day that one of the arguments that this particular parent had heard was, you know, leave your child in our school. The teacher is graded as a 1 or a 2, but she's going to get better in about 3 years, or he's going to get better in 3 years. Well, you as a parent, how do you respond to that? Well, I'm going to leave my child in your hands because in 2 or 3 years you're going to get better? I don't think so. My child right now needs to be out of this particular school and someplace else. So what we have here is the governor's approach is to be very narrow, very restricted, and that is to help the poorest of the poor in the lowest performing schools in Tennessee. So does that mean that every child, every parent, every family is going to say, we're out of here? No, it does not mean that. It means that the state will notify these parents and these families that they have a choice. And they will have the choice to participate in the program or not to participate in the program. So when people talk about these kinds of things, they have this, sometimes they have this vision of a mass exodus out of public education. No, not at all. And I have found many, many families, especially in my district, who are very pleased with their schools, have no complaint with their schools, and their children are flourishing. Well, you know what? That couldn't make me happier. That is very rewarding. We don't have but one school that has been identified as a priority school, And we have focused more, the Department of Ed has focused more resources into Whiteville Elementary recently to make sure that we can turn around the school so that they will not be identified as a priority school. Now, there is an amendment that is floating around that would make it possible for the Department of Education to identify other children who were not in those low-performing schools. If, for example, there's a cap of 5,000 for the first year. If the cap is not reached in the first year, then the Department of Education would be able to go to other parents in probably other schools and probably in focus schools. Now, focus schools are those schools that are not necessarily low performing, but they are those in which we have the widest achievement gaps. The governor is committed to narrow those achievement gaps, so it seems logical to me that they would go to the focus schools. But that's an amendment that has not made it on the governor's bill yet, so really the momentum is for the governor's bill.
Just a few comments. I appreciate your commentary there, but I want to speak directly to the issue, especially at Whiteville Elementary and the impact. You're exactly right. If you've got a level 1 teacher, which for the rest of you, we now have a way of measuring our teachers to see what effect that they have any given year on growth. Level 1 teachers, I start
That's an
off.
important point.
That is it is great. Growth, I will. Growth and achievement are measured 2 different ways. Achievement's what you do today on a test, based off of what you've learned that year. Some people, you've all heard the term, just don't test well. So they may never be up there 100 on every test. But let's measure how much they grew from taking the test last year to the next year. And that's what's important, is how much a student grows. By the way, my priority school here in this county has some of the highest growth that there is. To another point, that level 1 teacher, I start off at 1, most of us do. We don't start off doing the things that we later become good at. You start off on training wheels. So those level 1 teachers, they deserve our attention, and they're going to get that. But at my particular school that's on the priority list, over 80% of my teachers are level 3, 4, and 5. In fact, I only have less than this many that are level 1 teachers there. What I do have is a high mobility rate, over 3 times what the county average is. So we get a lot of kids coming in, not staying but a few months leaving out. My teachers have no impact or ability to change that. But now we're going to increase the mobility rate, potentially, with a voucher. Back to also, though, so those are just some important things that, Senator, I'd love to sit and talk with you about. I'm sure that the program fits some. It just simply doesn't fit this county. It's going to fiscally and financially damage this. It's going to take money from a county that already needs every cent we have. Resources the Department of Education has offered us. It's out there on the table. We're applying for some SIG grants. But at this point, my philosophy is, and I hope we get these, school improvement, that's the acronym for SIG. I hope we get them. We've done too much worth of work applying, but it's very competitive, not sure. Instead of taking money from me when I have a priority school, what about just letting me have some more to fix my school, to figure out what the mobility, what is causing that? I kind of see it at this point as an either-or situation. I either get the grant and I can help do some things that I can't already do above and beyond on my own, or the vouchers come in and takes even more money from me.
When you put in for that grant, let Representative Shaw and I weigh in on that.
Application, the final application actually was mailed this morning.
Okay.
So we started this process February the 28th and put a draft in, and the State Department has been very proactive in working with us on that.
Right.
So we hope it comes through, but there's limited funds there too, and there's a great need across this state. And I just simply say
so
again.
If you'll just give us a succinct narrative of what you plan to do with this grant and send that to Representative Shaw and to me, then we can add to the voice.
I just simply again say, as we said in our resolution, vouchers, charter school